Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. This is the August 3rd, 2023 Environmental Conservation Board of the Town of Carmel. We have an agenda this evening with 4 items on it. We'll go in order. Let's see. First one is P&R Estate Corporation, 122 Glenida Avenue, tax map 44.13-2-68, creation of a parking lot buffer. If you please would come up and state your name, who you're here to represent.
My name is Robert Susarczyk. I'm partner of P&R Estate Corp.
Good
And
evening.
town resident as well.
Pardon me?
And town resident as well.
Got it. All right. So you were before us last year, actually, the permit expired June 16th, 2023.
Yes,
You
that's-
came in, it's granted June 16th, 2022. You're looking, what are you looking for?
Yeah,
today?
I'm looking to extend 1 year long permit. We are right now in the front of the planning board, waiting for the approvals. Looks like everything is going well. So we need this extension for a year to start and complete the project. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Okay. Let's see. This is a P&R State Corporation. You said there's been no changes to the plans of the project, is that
No,
correct?
no,
Has any work been started on this?
no.
No work has been started, okay.
No. We're still waiting for planning board approvals, so it's looks like we're very close.
Yeah, okay. And for how long are you looking for an extension?
For 1 year.
All right. So we want to take a look at here. I'm just gonna pull out my notes from when you came by last, which was June 16th, 2022. Oh, I might have actually missed that one. All right, I have nothing there. Has any of the conditions of the site changed in the last year?
I believe so not. I'll be honest with you, I'm representing today the man who is running for PNR this all plans. So I'm not really familiar with every probably question, just whatever I know I can answer. He was not able to arrive tonight, so I'm just.
Got it. All right. Well, if nothing's been changed on this, I'm okay with giving a 1-year extension. Does anyone have any other questions for this?
From when?
From,
Extension.
so it is an expired application currently. It expired in June, June 16th.
June.
So I'm fine with giving a 1-year extension from June 16th.
Okay.
You have any questions?
No objections there. No, I have no questions.
Okay. All
Thank
right,
you.
so with that, do I have a motion to grant a permit extension from June 16th, 2023 to June 16th, 2024? It's a 1-year date, a 1-year extension from the point of expiration, with all the conditions set forth in the prior permit, including the wetlands inspector inspecting the erosion control measures put in place before the start of construction,
Yes.
as well as before removal of those erosion control measures. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. You have an extension for 1 year,
Thank you so much.
and you can pick that up from at Rose on Monday
Okay,
in the office.
great. Thank you so much. Good night.
No problem, thank you. Okay. Oh, thank you, yes. All right, next on the agenda, we have John Migliaccio. Migliaccio, my apologies. 167 Westlake Boulevard, 64. 176.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm reading different things.
Okay.
176 Westlake Boulevard, 64.19-1-81, replace wooden deck and bulkhead in kind. If you wouldn't mind, please state your name and who you represent.
John Migliaccio.
Thank you. All right, what you looking to do?
What I'm looking to do was replace a rotten deck. I moved in 23 years ago. The deck needed repair then. It just was out of sight, out of mind. And it got to the point it started to collapse. I went to remove it. In fact, it was just a can of worms that opened up. There was all sorts of rubble underneath the deck. And part of the old deck that was there previously was covered over by a wooden deck, and all the rubble that's in the picture was underneath that deck. I simply moved it for safety reasons. Nobody can get back and forth without walking over that rubble. I just want to replace it just the way it was and move on.
So when you say replace it, right now, what's the current condition of this? I mean, these pictures,
That's
how
the-
recent are they?
Very. That's the current condition. I was told to stop, so I stopped.
Got it. What did you actually accomplish so far in your plan that you were planning to do? Like, was there all wood over this and you pulled it all off?
If you look at that one picture that more or less scans the lakefront, runs the distance of the lakefront, you'll see there was a wooden,
This one?
that's after I removed it. I think it might be the next one. Yes, that's what was down, that's what was on the, you can see it was all rotted, and it was started to collapse. So I went to remove it. Upon removing it, I found another deck that was underneath it that was covered over probably, I'm there 23 years, probably 24, 25 years ago. And it needed repair when I moved in. It was just the type of thing I kept putting it off.
So what is your plan? Can you walk us through the plan for the sequence of work that you're gonna be doing, or that you want to do, or have done so far and will continue to do?
What I'd like to do is continue to build a wall out of Unilock that runs the length of the lake, but is about 10 feet from the shoreline, 10 feet back. It was a retaining wall that was all rotten. When I started to pull the floor out, I realized that the railroad tie wall was all rotted, so I removed that as well. I just want to replace that retaining wall. And I'm not going to put anything down in front of it. Like the decking that was there, I'm not going to replace. It's just dirt. It's leave it as dirt, and it's about 10 feet wide.
So you're removing the you have removed most of the wood, there's still some
Yes.
remaining there.
Yes.
You want to remove the masonry that's there as well? All
No.
the chipped patio, all the
That I
detritus?
want to just cover over. I want to see all the loose stuff, I want to remove it.
Okay,
And then I want to put pavers down over the top of it.
over the top of the masonry that's
Correct.
there?
Correct.
Are you doing the work yourself?
Part of it, yes.
What part?
The removal or the demolition, when it comes time to put the pavers down, I will hire someone. As I said, it was just turned into a runaway train. I had no idea the can of worms I was opening up, and I would've
Pandora's
just left
box.
it.
Pandora's deck.
Dick.
So, can you explain a little bit with regards to like this picture? I see there's submerged concrete and
Well, we
masonry.
got all that 7, 8 inches of water. The lake was up almost 2 feet. My entire boathouse was flooded out. Now that the water subsided, it's about, I would say, normally it's about a foot under the edge of that. And the lake just being so full, everything backed up into the main area.
With the lake at normal lake levels, would that be
No,
exposed?
no, it would not be exposed.
You're not doing anything with that?
No.
It's
Well, how are you planning on stabilizing like the edge of the pavers you're gonna put down?
Well, okay. The edge is going to be, I want it, the plan is just, let me just see that. Can I step
Yeah,
up
of
a
course,
second?
yeah.
Because I'm not. So your question is, this is not gonna be touched.
Okay.
This is going to remain there. The pavers will stop right here where the old deck stopped. And this was just a piece of concrete that's over the winters, you know, it's cracked. But that's gonna remain the same. And the water will be down about a foot under this, 8 inches, 10 inches like that.
Are you gonna be removing the wooden bulkhead that runs the length?
This right is, it's rotten, I'm just gonna replace it.
Are you gonna replace it?
Yes, not, it's sort of,
Wood or Trex, or what are you gonna replace it with?
I'm gonna replace it with Trex,
Okay.
just so I don't have.
The
to-
concrete, are you covering that, or
This
you're
part,
stepping
no,
onto
no,
that, or is
no,
it going?
This part here, all of this rubble that was under the deck,
Yes,
I'm going to put it back. They want to pour concrete over it. See where this piece, that bulkhead is? It's
Yeah.
going to stop right there.
yeah.
And then this is going to remain just the same, but the water level will be down lower.
So you'll step out on that concrete?
Yes,
I
yes.
see, okay.
How are you planning on doing the concrete? Just mix there and by hand and
Yes.
pour it? Okay.
That's a good question. If it's possible, could I get a truck?
You can, but you'll have to go through like that ends up being a bigger
Well,
Okay.
project, no?
if, can you get access to the property with a vehicle?
You know, I don't know, to be honest with you. I could back down the driveway, yes.
Here, so the plan, I mean, but.
Yeah, so you want to remove the rubble, or you're going to place the rubble underneath?
Underneath. And then where it's on the, where I want to put the pavers, there's gonna, I think he said 4 inches of gravel and 3 inches of sand over the top, and then put the pavers on top of that and stone dust.
And the wood deck in this picture, it's not to be replaced?
That's exactly what, that's what I removed, that's the condition it was
And
in.
you're gonna leave that dirt underneath?
No, that's all been
That's
removed.
part-
If you look at the other picture, you'll
Yeah.
see, again, I didn't plan
This
on
picture.
doing this. If you look at that picture, that's with it all removed.
Okay.
And if you see that wall in the back, that's where I want to put the retaining wall.
There was a railroad tie, yeah.
Will it be railroad ties again?
That was all- No, I want to make it out of U-lock, so it's, I don't have to make this.
What's the length of the retaining wall that you're gonna be putting in?
If I'm not mistaken, it's 138 feet. The retaining wall's not going to be where your finger is.
It's here, no?
No, keep going.
Over here?
That's all retaining wall. That area right there.
This all in the back?
Yes.
What is back over here?
That's been a stone wall that's been there.
Got it. Okay, so this picture is with this concrete jut out here is where on the site map?
That would be, show a jet, right where if you move down, right in there. It doesn't really show it stepping out on that.
This flooded area here, so we have this wooden
We'll go
bulkhead.
straight down.
What is happening here?
That is nothing, that's just gonna stop right there. There's 2 steps there, actually, that lead up to the higher elevation.
Are you planning on filling this area in?
Once the water goes down, yes. Again, that's all, first time in all the years I'm there, it's been this high. That will all go down to about 8 to 10 inches below that platform, whatever you want to call it.
What are you planning to fill this in with? The sand, the gravel?
The rubble and it's pour right over the top of it.
I think this ends up becoming an application. I mean, you have flooding that's there, the bulkhead is out in the water. There's if all this this is stone and masonry.
Right.
If he's planning on putting that in here, that's going in the lake. Right.
If it's sealed in with concrete, and if it's low enough and not too high, I don't see it as a real
Once
issue.
the lake goes down,
Is this being, you're putting a concrete a bulkhead on the water as well? What is going here? What is gonna be the encasing?
Yeah. To keep any runoff from going into the lake. Obviously, you're gonna have to
I
use
would, to be honest, I would think it's gonna run that straight down, all the way to the end.
But what is it? Is it just gonna
That's
be
wood.
wood? Is
Yeah.
it gonna continue to be wood?
Yes, I would put Trex back up.
Trex.
Yeah.
On top of that?
How are you gonna cement or anchor
That's
this?
all rock.
Oh, so you're taking that all out?
Take it out and put
All right,
Trex.
so if you do any of that, you're gonna need silt fence and all,
Boom.
a floating boom to keep any
Okay.
sediment and stuff going into the lake. That's necessary. So this is, you're here for basically a letter of permission.
He's asking for a letter of permission, but this is a
Yeah.
very big job,
It's a little
right on
bigger than
on the
just,
end of the lake.
it's,
Again, this is a runaway train. Could I leave it?
leave what?
Leave,
The rubble?
well, I can't leave the rubble.
I know you
No,
can't.
I can't.
So if enough rubble was removed so that you can use part of it as the base and then fill it in, as long as it's not too high, looks, and then it slopes up. Does it slope up here?
Yes.
So in other words, you would move
Well,
all
that
this
rubble
in,
makes it slope. Yeah. we'll put
yeah,
that-
so you'd move that all into here.
Correct.
But this is not gonna be, there's no anchor there, though. It's just gonna,
Yeah, well, you're replacing this, obviously, you have to.
how is that driven into the ground? Is it piles? Are you gonna be putting concrete? I mean, whatever it's on right now, it's gotta be something, right?
Yeah, it's more than a letter of permission,
Okay.
yeah, because of what additional things have to be done. If it was straightforward, it would be a different story.
Okay.
You know, if you're not just removing the top planking and putting
Well,
out,
that's what the plan was.
well, it's a good idea, if it worked
I
out
get it.
that way, yeah. So I think it's not a letter of permission,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so you're gonna need a couple of things if you wanna move forward. It's your choice to move forward or not. This is your property and everything. So we can detail here what you need in order to move forward. Yeah, we'll talk about it right now.
Okay.
And if you would like to continue on the project, you come back before us with what you need. We go through the paperwork, making sure that it's all good. One of our key concerns that we have on this board is protecting the water quality of the lake. You have this project, there are many, many, many like it across the entire lake. And one of the things that we want to make sure that we're staying on top of is that pollution, erosion, sediment going into the lake is at a minimum. Just because you might be very careful, we have to make sure that everyone's very careful, because a little bit across a ton of people doing their jobs ends up becoming a problem in the
Your
lake.
lake in your town.
Right, it's our water quality. So let's go through some of the things that we will need in order to have an application be submitted for us. One of the first thing that we'll need is a sequence of, So there will be there is minutes taken, they get usually posted a week or so later. We also, this is also published on YouTube, so you could always rewatch it too if you'd like. We have, you'll have to submit a sequence of construction. So in other words, what I was asking you before, how are you planning on, what's the detail of how you're going to do this work, the project? You have to let us know the full scope. So in other words, you write down, I'm replacing X amount of space, I'm gonna be filling in this area, I'm going to be putting pavers on top, underneath that will be X, Y, and Z base. Detail out bullets of the sequence of what you're planning to do here. Project plan. You also have to let us know what materials you're gonna be using. So you've mentioned all the materials here already. They just have to be written down in the file for inspection. You have this is your deed, you're good on that. You have this. The last thing is you'll need to do some math on the calculations for how much area you're doing here. So we need an exact number for our file.
You're getting a contractor, you said, at some point.
I'm lost right now, guys. I want to hire someone to do whatever you're saying.
Okay.
Just give me an outline of what you need.
Well, it would be a good idea to get a contractor in there, and he'll give you a good idea, write it down, and he can come in here and talk to us. You can come in and talk to us at any time before, a permit is issued, so it makes it easier. So we'll answer your questions, but I suggest you get whoever you want to use as a contractor to do that, and make your life a little easier. More expensive, but a little easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nothing on here you said would, the biggest thing that we're gonna ask you to do for protection-wise for the lake is whatever you plan on, that you wanna do for this job. We need to have a boom around it, so it's a curtain that's sort of put on one side of your construction area, it's floating, and it goes to the other side. So whatever goes into the lake, it doesn't go far from where you're going, you can go collect it. Be that sediment, sometimes sediment gets in the lake, be that floating debris, be that other debris that wash in because of a heavy rain during your construction, whatever it is. So that's one of our biggest things that we will ask for with regards to protecting the lake when you do this work.
If you get a contractor, he might say he needs some machinery to get down there, so there are certain other things that need to be done. No way. Okay. Have you lived helicopter? Anyway, yeah, right.
It didn't look like it would be too much heavy machinery required. I mean, there's some concrete masonry
Well,
maybe, but.
it's up to the
Yeah,
contractor
true.
to see what, might be required. We can work it out.
Right. All right. Well, like I said, this is recorded. You can watch back. You can, it's on YouTube. There's a channel as well. One of the local channels has it, I think it's Verizon. One of the local Verizon channels has it streaming, playing as well. And we publish minutes, so you can always ask for Rose in the building department. She has the minutes and she takes the notes on all of this. Of course. She also has some documentation that you can, like a little guide on if you need to submit more than just a letter of permission. What are some of the other things you'll need? And you have a lot of it in here already.
Okay, great. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're very welcome.
Thank
Sorry
you.
we couldn't grant it this evening.
Okay.
All right. Give that there. Thank you.
One question.
Of course.
What about that long retaining wall, which is not by the lake at all? Did I start construction on that?
It's, how far back from the lake is it? So
in the
unfortunately,
buffer.
we call that in the buffer. Anything within the
It's
100
100
feet
feet.
Oh,
from the
okay.
lake is considered in the buffer and is the protected area. So you'll have to get a permit for that. Although I will say, depending on
Well, Mike said if it wasn't over 4 feet, I wouldn't need a permit.
building permit, you do not need a building permit for that. This is, our permit is protection, a protection for the water permit.
All right, so we'll just give it a day or so. I'll get in touch with Rose and move forward.
Okay.
I will also give you one other not suggestion, option. Should you wish to not touch the deck part of it, but you do want to do just the retaining wall, since you had an existing retaining wall there, already, the wooden one that the railroad ties. Removing that and replacing that, I think would constitute a letter of permission, which is far faster, you can get that. But you have to consider, if you wanna do the other part of this, the bottom part, then that's really where the permit comes into play.
Stage 1 and stage 2.
You can consider that on your own.
Wall,
Who would do the retaining wall?
I have this Angel and myself. His name is Angel. I'm not sure the name of his company offhand. I know he has, but he actually did the neighbor right next door. Did his whole job, so I know he's licensed, but I haven't gone through that formality yet.
Yeah.
Are you gonna contact him and see what needs to be?
Absolutely.
But
Okay,
you can consider splitting the work a bit that way in order to expedite creating the
I'll do that
wall.
Because the water's still up high. I can't do that. I can't even work there anyway.
Because I figure if it's literally removing a wall that was there and putting back the exact same footprint of a wall,
yes.
you're not touching the lake, and you, as long as you're
And
protecting
some
the lake.
erosion control.
Right, erosion, you put some silt fencing down right before the lake, and
I have that.
you're good.
Oh, good, okay.
So,
Yes.
yeah, if you amend, if you want to pursue that, amend the application, and then you can come back next time, we'll say, you're good to go.
In the application,
Yeah, this one, you're asking for a letter of permission?
yes.
You can amend that and say, cross off everything except the wall that I wanna do. The other stuff I'm gonna handle in a different time with a different permit.
Perfect.
And then, you can come back before us and we'll take a look and just make sure you have, like I said, Ed said, erosion control, so in this case, silt fencing between where you're building and the lake.
Okay, which is in place now.
Yeah,
Perfect,
there's
thank
a-
you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Thank you, have a good one.
Yes. All right, number 3, item 3 on the agenda tonight, Angela and Warren Mensner, 44 Sycamore Road, tax map 76.5-1-28, replace boathouse and dock in kind. Please come up and state your name.
Good evening, gentlemen. Bob Strome for Warren Messner. He sends his apologies, couldn't make it tonight, something came up, asked me to come over. I'm his general contractor, and we're requesting a letter of permission. We have a building permit pending with the building department. Mike sent us down because of the extent of and the proximity to the lake, of course.
Did you have any photographs, anything you could show us?
We did send photographs in. Rose received them last week.
Yep, they are in the file.
Okay, good.
A little history on it. We're in the midst of renovating the house. It's the old Gus Ryan home on the point. And we're in permit on that, of course. And the intent was to re-side and replace the windows on the boathouse. We pulled with the building permit, with the building department's blessing. However, we got the siding off and the building is in such disrepair. Every stud on the building is rotten, and we can literally knock the building over. I could knock the building over. What we're concerned about, a storm coming along, we gotta have enough wind, that building's coming down.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. It's not a block for me.
I told the clients that the most expeditious way to do this is to absolutely stay within in kind and in place.
In other words, the footprint's going to be the same, you're going to reconstruct?
Absolutely, exactly the same, yeah.
Yeah, this, I'm familiar with it.
Can you walk us through I know you have it written on here, you mind walking us through the sequence of construction, how you're planning on doing it?
Sure. There is a letter in there. I penned that letter, actually, for the Messners. To the best of my recollection, first things first, get the boom in the water, and demo the boathouse. Once the boathouse is down, we'll reframe. And then, once that frame is back up, we'll repair the dock and replace the composite deck on top.
Where are you planning on stockpiling both debris and new materials coming in?
We won't be stockpiling, we'll be walking it right out, it's all hand. We have dumpsters there now for the house construction,
Good access.
and we'll continue that.
Got it.
We won't have any heavy equipment anywhere near the lake or anything like that. This is all literally done, we're gonna have to do it by hand just because of the proximity. You can't get a machine there to really do anything with it.
This deck is like this from the water, because I've seen it from the water.
There is a lot of debris in the water there, which the Mesters are great about getting things cleaned up there. And we do intend to, there's old tires in the lake there, there's a lot of debris that, over the years that have been just left behind.
Are they doing anything with the garage?
The garage has a permit, we're renovating the garage, the permit's been issued for that. We haven't started on the garage yet.
Yeah, I think so.
The house is probably 50% done right now, but it's enclosed and windows in. Yeah.
Does the house you said that's fully permitted, is the house within the work that you're doing there, is the house within 100 feet of the lake? Is there any outside work being done on the house?
Oh, yeah, it's being re-sided, decking, again, all in place. I can't say like kind because it was an old pressure-treated deck, and we're repairing it, replacing the majority of it, and it'll also have a composite deck on it that'll match the dock.
Oh, it's gonna have to be permitted. They're gonna rebuild. It's right on the lake.
Right.
And also the deck, so.
What was your suggestion then?
No, I was just saying it has to be, all this work has to be permitted, yeah.
You think this is
It's not, it's not maintenance.
I see.
That's what I meant to say. It ain't maintenance.
You've got to be familiar with Gus's old
Well,
place.
yeah, I lived up there about 35 years, and they were neighbors, so,
Yep.
in all honesty, so I'm not recusing myself,
Yeah.
because this is an issue that is
Right,
right
right.
in front of us, and
Yeah.
as long as it's done according to the regulations,
Yeah.
it's cool.
I'm on the lake too, you know,
So you're
similar
suggesting
concerns.
this is going to be this is not a letter of permission. This is a
All
permit.
this stuff?
Yeah.
No way. Well, you're going to rebuild it, so.
Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna rebuild it.
But, and we do have a permit pending.
I'm confused.
Me too. Are you? So he's asking for a letter of permission for this. You're saying that the scope of work there is much
Yeah, I
larger
think
than
it's
what's
more
required for-
extensive than
yeah.
that, and also, they're gonna have to protect the lake with, a float.
Boom. Sure.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything with the foundation piles? Anything that is going into the lake that is not there currently?
No, that's the one good thing about it. The concrete for the boathouse and the dock is in good shape.
Yeah.
So we don't have any of that kind of an issue.
What is the dock on currently? How's it?
How's
in
it
place?
supported?
Yeah.
It's on driven pipe. Not the best kind of method I would normally do, but in this case, we're repairing that. And the whole dock platform is all on driven pipe.
Is it a separate contractor doing the dock?
No, I'm a licensed contractor.
So you're doing the dock?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
So you're gonna finish it with Trex or something like that? Finish it with Trex?
Yes, it's,
Okay.
yeah. It's the other brand.
Oh, the other brand, that's fine.
The other brand.
Oh, that's fine, same thing.
I think with you. If it was, if you uncovered it, if this was just a simple, I'll put that in air quotes there, replacing of the
Joyce?
exterior of the boathouse, right? That's easily, I think that falls within letter of maintenance. But if you're taking this down, fully taking down the dock, the boathouse here, I'm inclined to agree with Ed that this is a permit that we're gonna have to
Yeah, sure,
issue.
yeah.
What are
I
your
would agree
thoughts?
as well, yeah.
Okay,
An ECB permit?
Yes.
Or a building department permit?
not a building department, this is an environmental board permit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the good news is, after reviewing this file, I believe you have everything that you would need, just a couple of things that you would need to note about erosion control measures and the wetlands inspector going out. So let me just review really quick some of my notes on if there's any additional items that we need because of the lake. Docks. Decks, nope. Permits. You said you have an active building permit for this, correct?
Correct.
For the property work that's getting done?
Yes.
Does that include the work that you're doing down here with the boathouse?
No,
Okay.
no,
Yeah, because they said you didn't need it because it was just replacing.
right. Yeah, Mike was gonna, once we realized the extent of the condition of the building, I reached out to Mike to see if he wanted to, if he wanted us to pull a permit for the boathouse. And he did. So we put a permit application in, and he's referred us to the board, of course.
Okay. And the water that I understand that it's the water from the pitched roof currently goes straight into the lake, correct? Like, there's no gutters or anything on it?
Yes, it's a gable roof, there's no gutters on it now.
And the plan is to keep it that way?
There's no other way to do it. Even if we put gutters on it, which we probably will, but it's just gonna dump a liter,
Yeah,
you know.
back in the lake.
so-
Okay. I personally feel that this project has the proper information in here. There's a project narrative. It has the materials you're going to be using. Can you go through what new materials you're gonna be using for both the decking, the siding, where you're gonna be putting in the building itself?
The decking, any of the structure of the decking will be pressure treated. Any of the surfaces for the decking are gonna be AZAC. And they happen to pick out one of the most expensive ones too. The boathouse itself, pressure treated plates, all of the rest of the building with Douglas fir. It is literally in kind. Exactly the same size, exactly the same structure, shape. There's an awning off to the left as you're looking down at the lake. An extension of the roof, not an awning. But that'll all be exactly the same. We're replacing the windows, of course, the roofing, same shingle roof. The siding is 8x1/2 beveled, pre-primed cedar siding. It'll be painted. It will have a garage door. It'll be a metal overhead door, just like the one that's there now.
Utilities down there, so is there any change to any of the, lines being run or anything like that?
No, right now, the building does have electric in it, although it's shot. And so we're bringing electric back down for the safety issues. You know, code requires lighting on walkways and things like that. So we are putting electric back in the building, and we are running a seasonal spigot down there from the house.
Are you just gonna trench that by hand and trench it by hand from the house and then bring it down there?
Yes. And that's, the sleeves are already in for that. We've put 2 sleeves in for the water and the electric. I don't know if they're in, I don't know if you're gonna see them in pictures. But
You said there's a walkway from I assume from the deck of the house that's up further down to the patio, is that correct?
there's a set of stairs with blue stone, it's 2 or 3 steps down from the grassy area to the to the deck level.
Got it. And the utility trench is gonna be running parallel with that?
It's just perpendicular from the house out to the, it's 40 feet maybe, 30 feet.
Okay. So a few things that we'll need for the permit. I'm not really hearing anything that would cause me to pause on accepting it. A few things, you mentioned that there won't be any stockpiling. I'd like that as a note in the file. So a few things you'll have to submit in order to have us advertise for this. So it needs to be advertised, and then we can issue it.
One thing we are concerned about is the condition of the building. I mean, literally, that building's gonna come down in a storm. I'm not familiar with the process that you're talking about and the time frame that it's gonna take. It's one of the reasons we were requesting a letter of permission so that we could get this taken down safely, quickly. Mainly because it's such bad condition. The Messners, about 2 weeks ago, on a Saturday, went over to see the progress on their house construction and found 8 or 9 people on their dock, swimming, fishing, with a cooler full of beer. And he asked them to politely leave. He reported it, and so he is very concerned about the whole safety issue down there,
Oh, I see what's there.
as I am too.
Understood. Let me just check something real quick in the code on the advertising side. No fill is being brought in or anything like that, right?
I'm sorry?
No fill is
No.
being brought in,
No.
right? Okay.
All right, so they want to prioritize at least eliminating the boathouse.
Correct.
That could be a little,
Taking it down, and then with a permit to put it,
To
the
build.
rest of the project,
To
bring it
recons-
back up and redo the deck?
that, yeah. I was thinking if you wanted to take it down sooner,
Mm-hmm.
which makes sense.
Yeah, I get
But
that.
you're gonna need a full, they'll need a permit for the construction of the new boathouse.
Yes.
You'll need a permit for the construction
It's
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now it's pending with the building department.
Yeah. All right, it's pending, all right, good. So a letter of permission to take it down might make some sense. And while you're at it, there's another boathouse, several houses down. That's even worse. Okay, thank you.
That one might be worse.
It's bad.
So I'm not really sure how to handle this part of it though, because the information in here is all pertaining to remove and replace. So this is the full application here.
If you want to make a stipulation that it's only for the removal of the existing boathouse and not for the construction of a new one.
Let me see out here. In place and kind repair of existing boathouse and dock due to agent storm. Move of existing boathouse due to agent damage.
Talking about breaking it
So,
out.
yeah, Mr. Strom, let me ask you if you'd be willing to do that. So because of the safety issue, the board is considering breaking this permit into both a letter of permission and a permit. Letter of permission granting this evening to remove the boathouse, so you'd be able to take that down with the stipulation in order to replace the dock and anything on the dock, and to put a new boathouse on there, you will need a permit for that.
An ECB permit?
Yes, ECB,
You're
not
not
a,
referring
not
to the
a
building
building permit.
department.
This is strictly for Environmental Conservation Board.
Yeah.
So you'd have to come before us again. It would be potentially, with the board's approval, granting a letter of permission tonight to remove the boathouse that is currently there due to safety concerns.
Yeah.
And then you'll have to come before us at the next meeting or whenever that is
Sure.
with an application for a permit to build in that case, it would be to replace in kind the boathouse.
Okay.
And decking.
All right.
Is that amicable to you?
It's fine by me, as long as we'll be able to do that. I'm sure the Mesters don't want to take the boathouse down and find out they can't put it back up.
No,
So as of now, I don't,
It's
there
not
was
that
no
kind
problem
of
with it.
an
This
issue.
is
It's
the-
more
that's
right,
not an
time
issue.
for the
frame.
process.
Right, this is for time frame. You know, because of the safety concerns.
Right.
We have to, per our code, in order to grant a permit, we have to advertise it for a certain amount of days. For the public to be able to comment on it, and they have to be able to inspect the file. So for the letter of permission, we don't have such restriction. We can grant that, you can take care of the safety issues, and then come back before us with the permit to put up the new boathouse.
Well, I would certainly appreciate that, yeah.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I'm
All right,
worried
so-
about the liability as the contractor on the project
Yeah.
too, of course.
So don't lean on the boathouse.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I
I'm
mean,
going,
you literally, it goes like this.
oh, the house, the boathouse. I'm gonna make an edit to this, and then if you wouldn't mind initialing it.
Sure.
So I'm going to remove or strike out in place and in-kind repair and change that to remove. Removal of existing boathouse, and I will strike out the and dock. So this way it's removal of existing boathouse is the current, letter of permission that is being asked for. If you wouldn't mind, and it's just initialing that, indicating that that's amicable to you.
And date it. Yeah, well, it's, yeah, we.
Yeah, right where I crossed it out,
Yeah.
perfect. And today is the August 3rd. Perfect, okay. With that, we will require you to put the boom in for that,
Okay.
just in case,
Yeah.
Regardless, so
We're
with
gonna need
that,
it anyway, so.
Yeah,
Right.
we're gonna, yeah,
I'd
absolutely.
like to entertain a motion to accept this letter of permission for 44 Sycamore Road. This is for removal of an existing boathouse only, due to age and storm damage, with the following condition, that the boom be put in place, and that all other construction that was included in the original application is to be put into a different application to come before the board to construct the boathouse and replace the deck.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, you can pick up the letter of permission on Monday from Rose and submit the next application. Yep,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Have a good night.
That's gonna be a little bit tough one for Rose. I could write this up.
No, it's not a really big deal. You just look at it for just removal, and that's it.
Yeah. Thought that was the easiest way. All right.
No, it's good.
Good on this one for now. Do I need to sign that? I might need to sign this. Let's see. No,
Initial it?
no, it's
You
fine.
don't have to.
It's recorded. All right, last one.
Like that matters anymore.
I know. We have Michael Soka? Skoka. 93 Tea Kettle Spout Road, tax map 76.17-1-17. Construct a single-family house. Please come up, state your name and who you're here to represent.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Alvaro Larrain. I'm with A2L Engineering. I'm here with the owner of the lot, Mr. Skoka. We're here tonight to solicit a letter of permission to conduct construction activities at 93 Tea Kettle Road, Spout Road. We're proposing to build a single-family residence with an associated access driveway.
All right.
The reason we're in front of ECV tonight is because there's a local wetland at the corner of the property. That wetland was, or the presence, suspicions of that wetland was brought up by the town engineer. And subsequently, Mr. Skoka, the owner, retained a wetland scientist to flag and delineate the limits of that wetland. Those limits were then surveyed and are depicted on the plans that were submitted to you all.
Do you know when the flagging took place?
Yes, December 2022.
Okay, not too long ago at all. Is any of the project that you're doing here within the wetland or the wetland buffer?
Absolutely, all disturbance is happening outside of the wetland limits.
Okay.
However, pretty much the entire construction is happening within the wetland buffer, the 100-foot buffer, because it's not a large lot. It's roughly 1 acre in size. After I think it's worth mentioning that once these wetlands were delineated, some changes took place in the design. Mainly the footprint of the house as it was originally laid out was shifted farther away from the wetlands. It was also elevated to allow us to do infiltration practices for stormwater management. Also, the proposed septic system, the subsurface treatment system, was located on the rear of the proposed property dwelling to maximize any distance between the wetland limits and the SSDS.
So you currently have a building permit for this, correct?
It's pending on, yes.
Is the Department of Health also pending still, or did you get that accepted?
It's pending as well.
Did you had to go through DEC with this?
We do. This exceeds 5,000 square feet. So we will be going to DEC for coverage under speedies. We're in front of the planning board in May, and we secured a conditional approval. Some of the conditions are precisely that we obtain health department approval for the septic.
Have you done the soil testing yet?
Yes, perks and deeps were witnessed by the health department. We had 2 pre-submittal meetings with them before we put in the application a couple weeks ago. The reason we requested a pre-submittal meeting is because it's a tight site, and Mr. Skoka has been a little delayed with all these complications in the construction of the project. So we wanted to make sure we understood all the requirements from the health department before we put in the application.
Mr. Skoka is part of A&B Holdings, is that correct?
Correct, he's the sole owner.
Pardon?
He's the owner.
Got it. Can you tell us or walk us through water mitigation strategies that you have? I know there's a SWIP. Rich Franzetti, the town engineer, has also reviewed that SWIP and approved it. There's a note of that in the file, the approval of the SWIP. But can you walk us through this board through water mitigation strategies that you're employing here?
Absolutely. So for this project, knowing that we were in close proximity to the wetlands, we designed 2 stormwater retention systems. We went to the field and did percolation tests to ensure the soils were conducive of infiltration. And what we did was we designed the site so that all runoff hitting any proposed new impervious, that is, roof, driveway, even as a gravel driveway that it's being proposed, all runoff hitting those new proposed areas is going to be captured and conveyed into these infiltration practices. The infiltration practices have pre-treatment. If you're familiar, there is an isolator row being proposed. That's sort of a first line of defense for incoming water. And then there's treatment by means of infiltration into the ground. Those systems were sized well in excess of the DEC requirements. We knew that stormwater mitigation would be a hot topic, and we oversized these systems. There is one retention system that deals or receives all runoff coming from the driveway, and another one that receives all runoff coming from the roof, the entire roof of the dwelling. There is overflows to this system. They're sized to infiltrate up to the 10-year storm. And then beyond that, if the system gets overwhelmed, there is what we call a bubbler structure. In essence, it's just a grate on the grass that will overflow. So the selection of a bubbler basing, it was to avoid any erosion that could happen. You know, when you have a bubbler feature, you don't have velocities scouring the grass. Just sort of bubble up and velocity dissipates. These features are all proposed within the wetland buffer, because pretty much the whole site's within the buffer, but they're all proposed outside of the wetland limits.
The driveway that you're indicating, how are you, if it's a gravel driveway right now, is it, what's the pitch or the grade on that, and how is water expected to flow into the infiltration system?
Sure. We have a grading plan that maybe I can explain that a little bit better.
Mhm.
That should be C500. So what we're proposing, would this be helpful?
Yeah, that's fine.
So what we're proposing is a grass swell. We're grading this access driveway with a cross slope. It's a faint cross slope, and we're proposing a grass swell running along its edge. So the swell ends at an open grade structure that's directly upstream of the retention system.
Can you point out the 100-foot buffer on this map? Then is if the if you have a different map too, I'm just
Yes.
where that would actually end up being.
Certainly. So it would be this line, 100-foot buffer. It sort of clips this area. So if you look at the lot, the entire lot is within the buffer,
Yeah.
with the exception of this upper corner here.
Where's the wetlands then?
It's over here.
My mistake. I was under the assumption there was a pond there's a pond on the other site, right?
That's the
Correct.
next door neighbor's house.
On the neighbor's house. So the hydrology of this lot, there is a ridge, this sort of a high point that runs pretty much along the property line.
Got
here.
it.
And there is a low point right here against the roadway,
I get it.
where there is a culvert, there's a pipe that traverses the road. So yes, this entire area sort of runs up towards that corner. The invert out is slightly higher than the ground, so, this, I presume, requiring, ponding eventually.
Okay, so that all is wetland area, is that correct?
That is
All
correct.
the dotted area, okay.
Correct.
Right now, to my understanding, there's a stop work order on this project, correct?
No.
No,
There isn't? I'm sorry. So no work has been done on this property yet?
just the outside wall that we're putting up for Mike, as long as it's under 3'6", we can do it, so we're putting up a wall out there.
Got it, okay.
And then last year, we got DEC permission to clear some of the trees during the months of November to March. So we cleared some of the trees out, some of the dead ones, she said we could take down. My next door neighbor had a dead one, she said it was jeopardizing her house, so
Mhm.
we cut it down.
Mhm.
And we cleared pretty much whatever we could clear out.
Is this so on Tea Kettle Spout Road, if I'm not mistaken, when I drove by this recently, is this the property that has the temporary construction trailer on it and has the fencing up. Okay, it looks like a lot of trees were taken down. What do you mean by a couple? If you wouldn't mind coming up and just stating your name too, since you're talking, Rose is gonna have to take notes of who's speaking when and.
My name is Michael Skoka. I am the owner of 93 Tea Kettle Spout Road, as well as A&B Holdings, GCCM.
Thank you
Let me
very
give you a
much.
brief on when I bought this property last June. When we first got there, I did my due diligence on the property to make sure that everything was up to par and everything before I signed. There was an issue with Rich that said that it was a wetlands issue, and I contacted DEC. Got a letter from Sarah Paulzak from DEC saying we were well outside their 100-foot buffer. And I literally went through everything with Mike Carnaz upstairs. I showed him the property, and there was an issue with a lot line. And for the last year, I've been put through planning, zoning, and everything else for this, what was considered a lot line clarification. I went through a subdivision, which I didn't even know why. Even the planning board members didn't know why. So during the course of the year, we cleaned the site. I took off 4 30-yard dumpsters of garbage off the site. And it was in the dry bed. The wetland is a dry bed. That's what it is, okay? And it exists from up Tea Kettle Road. There's storm drains coming down the left side of the property where mine is. And they dump onto the storm drain in front of my neighbor's house, okay? From there, nobody but highway, in my opinion, could have cut a culvert from that storm drain into my neighbor's pond. From there.
The one directly up the road on the map there?
Correct.
Okay.
There's a storm drain right here. Every house up Tea Kettle drains into the storm drain. Easy way out, they cut a culvert pipe from the storm drain into her pond. From that pond, there's a culvert pipe, goes under her driveway into my property.
Where does it exit?
It literally stops about right here. You see that dotted line? It
Yeah.
stops about right there, and the water goes out through that X pipe that goes underneath Tea Kettle.
It dumps to grade and then goes to the culvert further down the road there on the,
Yeah,
okay.
corner of my property, right here. There's a culvert pipe that goes underneath Tea Kettle. So during the course of the year, to get the property, so we can look at it and see what we have to do to make the property whole in the town's eyes. I bought the property with a quitclaim deed from the county that said both properties were merged, buildable, acceptable of a septic and a well, signed for by Mary Ellen Odell in the county. It wasn't satisfactory to Joe Charbonneau, it wasn't satisfactory to Mike or anybody else. So I did everything they wanted me to do. Hired engineers, hired architects. Just to clarify, this one line from here to here is what Mike had an issue with. This one line. It was a lot line clarification. That's all it was. It wasn't a subdivision. It wasn't anything other than clarifying how that lot line got there. I went through the ringer.
So it's been solved?
Yeah,
Okay.
everything's solved. But now, to get the property so I could see what was going on it, I cleared it out, took out all the garbage that was sitting in the dry bed all over the property. It was mattresses, you name it, I took it out. I got permission from DEC to take all the rotted trees out, and that consisted of the middle of the property, the thing here. We didn't touch anything here, we didn't touch anything here. Couple of trees in the middle that were rotted, they were up against one another, we took them out. And, we got the permission to get, what we needed to get to the stage we're at right now. So,
What is the stormwater, sorry.
No, you won't.
What is the stormwater structure that you have on the south side of the wetlands that is there?
So we have, I believe you're referring to the boulder structures.
Pardon, the what?
The bobbler structures.
On the
the-
south
this
and the
one
north side of the
this
property? Yeah,
one.
sure, yeah.
Yes, so those are, they're open grade basins. They're designed to let the system overflow when it gets overwhelmed with a severe storm. So, in essence, this underground storage gets filled up. Whatever volume infiltrates, or cannot infiltrate beyond a certain storm event, bubbles up those grates. I'm sorry. Yes, certainly. I'm sorry about that. That's what those are. We have two, one for each system, being an overflow to each system.
Where's the culvert that Mr. Skoka indicated was, do you have that on the map anywhere, the underground structure that's coming from?
Yes. If you see here where it says existing 16-inch
What map?
over here.
I see it. The 16-inch CMP, yeah.
So that pipe ends or daylights right here at where the wetland begins, as it was mapped in the field.
How much storage is that underground unit? What's the capacity?
So we have two systems. System B had 7 Coltec chambers. I can look into the sweep and give you specific cubic
7?
footage. But it's 7 chambers on this side and 4 chambers on the driveway side. The overflow, I just wanted to point out, the overflow out of the bobbler basins also do not exceed existing conditions. So the system mitigates volumes and also post-development flows reaching that culvert under the driveway. All those calculations are in the sweep.
Do you have a tree removal and or planting schedule?
It should be on the landscape plan, which is part of the architectural.
Y-
Drainage area.
Yes, Chairman, it would not be on that set, but there is a landscape plan as part of the architectural set of drawings. Mike, could you explain what that entails for plantings? I know you went back and forth.
So for the trees that we removed, they called for planting of 6 large trees, 2 in the back, and then 2 in the right corner of the driveway. And then we have 10 arborvitae up against the one wall. That's up against the stone wall on the south end of the property.
Do you know how many were removed?
It was a total of 8.
8 trees were removed? Got it, okay. I think we'll need that, the removal and the planting to be submitted into the file as well.
You, it's in the, we submitted it through planning and zoning. You want me to go get one? It's right down the
Closed
street.
Right now, existing
No.
conditions, site plan, drainage, what, you didn't see it in there? Okay, yeah. We'll need that submitted into the file here. You can, if it's in the planning department, you can ask for us to include it. So the current wetlands right now, what is your plan for the, I guess that's the east side of the property, right? Where the wetlands are from the road towards the house. What is your plan with the grass field,
I believe he
wetlands
calls for
themselves?
seeding.
Okay.
Seeding, majority of the whole place is gonna be seeded.
With like a wetland mix, or?
Yeah.
It does,
Yeah.
okay. That's part of the planting guide? Is
Yep.
that what you had? Okay.
It's also in the notes of the the landscape notes, it's in there too.
Why I'm asking that is what we have seen in the past is some homeowners will have this much in the front of their property like this, and eventually end up turning that into grass, like a field.
Oh, you
By
can't.
bringing in fill and grading it.
Can't,
and-
there's no way.
Just to be clear, so the
Mike,
Oh, Mike, go ahead.
I'm sorry, just to be clear, the plans that were developed included the soil erosion sediment control plan, and we are proposing a silt fence to be installed 3 feet, with a
All the way
3-foot
around.
offset of the wetland limits. That's both to protect and to serve as a visual barrier, but there are notes specifically prohibiting any sort of activity happening within the wetland limits. That's a note on
Okay.
soil erosion.
And the entire driveway up to the garage is currently planned to be stone? Is that
Cor-
right?
Gravel,
Gravel?
open gravel, that's correct.
Pervious, okay. With swales and water retention and all of that. All of the leaders coming off the house are currently going into, and I'm pretty sure you said that before, are going into the water control methods as well, correct?
That is correct.
Do you know what your the area of disturbance is within the buffer?
Yes, 0.7 acres.
How many square feet is that? I don't know how many square feet that is off the top of my head.
Probably 29,000,
Was it 29,000?
about, yeah.
I don't know, do you think, does the board have any considerations for any other mitigation for 29,000 square feet of disturbance in the wetland buffer? Right now, they're putting in 12 Coltech chambers. 11, thank you. 11 Coltech chambers, handling up to a 10-year storm. I know, that's
10 years, thought that was 1,000 years ago, yeah.
Well, if you
Describe
don't
it.
mind, let me get my cheat sheet because I do want to just share with the board some of the attenuation across the different storms
29,000 square feet of
We-
disturbance?
within the buffer.
What are we disturbing in the buffer? It's the house
What
is
was it, 0.7 acres?
It includes the SSDS, the drainage, driveway, all that.
Oh, sorry.
0.7 acres.
Yeah. So sorry, just clarification on disturbance within the buffer. So we provided a summary table in the SWIP to show that all storm events, the 10, the 25, 50, and 100-year storm events, and those were current rainfall, based on current rainfall data. So we had 5 inches of rainfall for the 10-year, up to 8.95 inches of rainfall for the 100 years. We use current data from the Cornell Weather Center. And what we modeled with these 11 chambers is that there would be a decrease in post-development flows across all of those storms. Also, there would be a decrease in volumes leaving the site by virtue of retention and infiltration.
So you're predicting that it will go down, the amount of rainfall we get in the 10 and 100-year storm? 10, 50, and 100? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, we're predicting that if you measure flows and volumes reaching that culvert at that low corner of the lot currently, and you measure them after construction, you're going to measure less flow and volumes reaching that point for the 10-year storm, the 25-year storm, the 50.
Is that because of the construction and because of the infiltration systems you're putting in place? Is that what you're saying?
That is exactly right.
I understand. Okay. Thoughts?
Well,
I mean,
we
there's
get
no place for a
500
rain
years,
garden.
Storms, you know, Frequently.
Every 10 years now.
But the reality is the regulations haven't changed, and we're gonna go along with what the existing regulations are.
That property was
Mike?
bone dry. Bone dry.
Right, we'll go with the regulations, that's fine.
Of course.
Otherwise, that property, bone dry.
There's no place for a rain garden, so we can't, and they already have water infiltration systems, so I think that's sufficient. They're reseeding, but I do think it's very important for you to add the landscape plan, the seed mixes, how you're gonna be measuring that. There's a few things that I didn't quite see on the map, but I also, there's many pages, I might have missed it.
Sure.
The stockpile location, heavy machinery, staying overnight parking. Do you have any details on that?
We addressed some of those on the erosion and sediment control plan, mainly the construction entrance and stockpile locations. That would be sheet C 600, I believe.
600?
Yes, we have a copy here.
Notes, that's not it. 500, 600.
C 500.
500.
So the
Yep. Space, it's silt fence, okay. So a note you will need to add onto sheet 500, right in here, you can also add that as an addendum, as a note to the file, in a letter or email, is that after you install silt fencing, but before you can start construction on the property, the wetlands inspector needs to go out and ensure that the silt fencing and whatever erosion control measures you have in place are in place properly. He gives you approval. At the conclusion of the construction, before you remove the silt fence, after you've done, before you move it, call him again. He comes out, make sure the site looks as it's supposed to with regards to the erosion and the erosion controls. Then he says, go ahead and pull them out. So it's before and after to make sure that the silt fence was put
Stay
in
true.
properly and stays in place. So
Understood.
that will be needed to be added. Again, you can either add it into your section here on notes in C500 or add that as a email or something like that to Rose to add to the file.
Understood.
Stockpile location, where are you stockpiling the materials?
Sort of at the end of the proposed driveway, there is towards the top, there's a circle. Yes,
Great. Is that being enclosed?
yes, with silt fence around it.
Great. Concrete washout area, fantastic. Heavy machinery, how are you storing that on site?
Mike, you want to explain a little bit of the logistics?
Heavy machinery is gonna be stored on a stone pad that's gonna be up in the front corner.
Okay, one of two things. For any heavy machinery that you're storing overnight,
Okay.
you can either keep it outside the buffer somehow, which doesn't look like you'll be able to do that on any of the areas here, or you can keep it in the buffer, but it needs to be parked on 6 mil poly. So you
Okay.
put a plastic sheeting down, drive the truck on that or whatever it is you got, it
Okay.
can stay on that overnight.
Okay.
In case there's any spills, and then that brings us to, you need to have a spill kit on site too
Yes.
for any heavy machinery.
Yep.
So we need those two notes you can include them in a letter that you submit to Rose, included in the file. One is overnight parking on 6 mil poly for all machinery, and spill kit needs to be on site whenever there's heavy machinery on site. One other item is with regards to heavy machinery, fueling. So fueling either needs to be done outside the buffer or on 6 mil poly, same
Okay.
thing.
Sure.
Preferably outside the buffer if you can, but I don't think that there's any spot inside your property line that,
To be
So,
towards the corner.
yeah,
basically.
no, I mean, don't go driving over the grass in order to, up the hill over here. That's fine, just make sure it's on 6 mil poly, you got the, spill kit handy. So that's another note that we need to add, please. Get that, fueling plan, landscape plan. Landscape plan needs to be added into the file.
But which file, your file?
Yes, our file. Unfortunately, the boards have different files, and so because we don't require the same things, sometimes we do require the same things, sometimes we don't. Before, when the other individuals who came through here, some of them didn't need a building permit, we don't have the same information.
Okay.
Site plans are
So you
often
just
different.
want the landscape drawing that shows the trees that were taken down and the trees that are going up and the seeding and everything else?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool.
Just that.
Yeah,
You
it
can even
seems-
potentially submit that in an email, and she can include that in the
Yeah,
file.
she got it already,
Yeah,
Just
we'll
ask
try
her to add it right into the file, and you're
to
good.
your file.
Our file, the
Okay.
ECV
Yes.
file.
All right.
Yes,
Make sure you,
for the
I've been,
ECV
this is
permit.
my third board, I'm like so confused right now.
Let's see, flagging was 2022. Any permit we grant will, or accept as complete here will be conditional, any permit we grant will be same conditions as the planning board, so DEC, Department of Health, once you, like, will grant it on the, and you can start the work on condition that you also get those.
understood.
Landscape, let's see, parking. I have to make my own notes here. Parking, we've got 6 mil poly. Heavy machines, spill kit. Fueling plan. Fill, brought into the site. What kind of fill you bring in?
None.
None?
There
Alright.
is, yeah, there is a slight surplus. That we're proposing a small raise, 2 feet top, behind the property, behind the proposed dwelling, and that's reclaimed from the excavation.
Got it. Okay. The gravel that you're bringing in for the driveway, what kind of gravel is it? Do you know?
I'm not sure where you're gonna plan, to source it, Mike. We haven't written specs for that particular material. The gravel that you're putting down for the driveway, you
It'd
have
probably be like a 3/4 wash zone, obviously, because you can't bring anything other than washed in the wetlands, right?
So if you can add that to the note as well that you submit, that would
Absolutely.
be fantastic.
It's gotta be naturally sourced, of course, not
Mhm.
recycled.
Perfect, okay. Any other questions? You have any questions?
Do you think we need any signs or
I was thinking that, I'm not sure.
future homeowners?
This site is a site you're planning on building and then selling, correct?
I don't know yet.
You don't know, okay. The reason I'm asking is, on occasion, depending on how much of the wetland is within a proximity to a home, we have asked homeowners in the past to put a wetland sign or several wetland signs.
I
on
would
the
love to
property.
do that. I definitely will do that.
So this way,
Plus,
any
I think
future
it's my
homeowners-
daughter who's interested, so
Yeah? All right.
whatever you want, she's gonna get.
Rose has the signs, they're little placards. Any suggestions? I was thinking along the roadside.
Yeah.
So this way there's at
The
least,
trees along the roadside?
sure.
Okay.
What's the length on, you got it here, what's the length on this roadside here?
Should be
do you have-
198.
Yeah.
What was that?
It's like 198 feet,
This is,
Inch 20 feet.
something like that.
107,
along the, specifically along the, wetlands,
correct, over here.
107 feet?
Yeah, just along the wetlands right there.
You said 4 signs, 3 signs?
How many feet?
107 feet.
All right, what do we do, 25 feet?
Yeah, we usually do it between 25 and 50 feet.
All right, 25 is enough.
All right, 4? So, all right, we'll add this as the condition as well. I think that goes a long way for our board for mitigation as well, considering the future of the property. So we would like, right, 4 signs, wetland signs, you can get them from Rose, they just, little plaque like this. You may have seen them around, the McDonald's over in Carmel here has a few of them if you're in the drive-through on the right-hand side. That's a big wetlands there. But, so that's just for future homeowners to know, or even people on the road, or even our highway department when they're cutting culverts in, to know that there's a wetland there. So 4 signs along that side there, I'm gonna add a note, if you can include that in your file note that you submit. Along road, wetlands. Great. Do you need anything else?
No, sounds good.
Good suggestion, Anthony. Good? All right, so with that, I don't see anything in here that would prevent us from accepting this application as complete with those conditions, with these conditions.
Yes.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
All right, so, I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the application for 93 Tea Kettle Spout Road for construction of a single-family home with the following conditions. A note be submitted to Rose by Monday, so she can advertise, with the following additions. Signs to be placed along the wetlands, the roadside of the wetlands, 4 signs total. That they include the landscaping plan, including tree cutting and tree planting, as well as seed mix. They include a note, the applicant include a note on overnight parking on 6 Mill Poly for any heavy machinery, spill kit on site, fueling plan to be, any fueling to be done on 6 Mill Poly or off, or outside of the buffer, and that the gravel to be used, the specifications of the gravel to be used for the driveway. As well as a note included that says the wetlands inspector will be notified prior to start of construction, but after erosion control measures are put in place, and then at the end of construction, before erosion control measures are removed, for him to inspect site. Do I have a motion?
Do you want to
Oh.
photograph that, what you did?
I'll let him.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, you are on the clock. At this point, it takes, if you get this in by Monday to Rose, she can advertise it in the newspaper, indicating that there's a permit on file here. It can be inspected in town hall. If we get no comments in 2 meetings, we come back, we see if there's any comments. If there's no comments and no changes to the application, and you've submitted everything we have in here, we will grant you your permit on the conditions, the conditions that you submitted, all that, as well as some conditional items around other permits being granted. Sound
Thank
good?
you. That sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you
for your
both for
time.
coming tonight. I'm sorry that you've been put through the ringer on this.
That's okay. Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone's over there.
The minutes,
Can't do minutes.
I don't think so.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you, sir. Oh, do I need to sign that? No, I don't sign the permit. We accept it as complete. Permit doesn't get signed yet. Do the EAF next time. We have minutes, but we cannot do that this evening. I need Mr. Laga to be joining us in order to pass that one. With that, do I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening. Stay safe.